Welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that I'm sure all of us have wanted to master at some point in our lives: how to handle, or rather, how to intelligently deal with those toxic people who seem to enjoy making our lives more difficult. You know, those individuals who always have something negative to say, who criticize endlessly, and who, just by being around, can ruin your day. But it's not just about confronting them. It's about doing so with unshakable serenity, something that might seem hard to achieve, but I assure you, it's absolutely possible. How do we do this? By applying the principles of one of the wisest leaders in history, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and master of Stoicism. In this video, I'm going to share with you 11 Stoic strategies that will not only help you deal with difficult people, but also provide you with the tools to maintain calm and control in any situation. If you've ever wished you could neutralize the toxicity around you and emerge stronger from every interaction, stay until the end, because the last point in particular will be crucial in dealing with these types of people. These strategies can completely change the way you approach these situations and ultimately how you live your life. Let's explore the power within you to become a true master of serenity. 1. Stay calm and avoid reacting immediately. Imagine this scene. You're in a work meeting, and a colleague who seems to have a special talent for finding flaws in everything makes a sarcastic comment about your latest presentation. The atmosphere becomes tense, and your first instinct is to defend yourself, perhaps with an equally sarcastic or defensive remark. This is the moment when Marcus Aurelius's principles become invaluable. He said, "The best revenge is to be unlike them." This advice is not just a call for indifference, but a strategy to protect your inner peace. Reacting in the heat of the moment rarely produces positive results and often perpetuates a cycle of negativity. By choosing not to respond immediately, you take a conscious step towards self-control and emotional mastery, both pillars of Stoicism. Think about how many times an impulsive reaction has made a situation worse. Now, imagine a different scenario. Instead of reacting immediately, you take a moment to breathe deeply, reflect on what's really happening, and then decide how to act. This small space of reflection allows you to choose a response that not only preserves your dignity, but also reflects your true character. Science backs up this practice. Various studies have shown that taking a moment to reflect before responding to a stressful situation can significantly reduce cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and increase feelings of control and well-being. Furthermore, when you take the time to calm down, your brain has the opportunity to process the situation from a more rational place, allowing you to see things with greater clarity and perspective. By practicing calm and avoiding instant reactions, you strengthen your mental resilience, making provocations less impactful over time. Over time, you'll find that toxic people have less power over you because you've developed the ability to maintain your composure and inner peace, regardless of what they say or do. To better understand this approach, we can look at historical figures who also mastered the art of calm and non-reaction. Gandhi, for example, faced criticism and even violence with impressive calm, turning his serenity into a tool for resistance and social change. This same strategy was used by Nelson Mandela, who after years of imprisonment chose reconciliation over retribution. These figures show us that calmness and non-reaction are not just tools for self-care, but also for social transformation. Additionally, for those interested in applying this more practically in their daily lives, there are techniques like mindfulness meditation, which has been shown to reduce emotional reactivity. Taking a few minutes each day to practice meditation trains your mind to respond more reflectively and less impulsively. This approach not only benefits your mental health, but also enhances your ability to manage toxic people and prepares you to face any challenge with a clearer and more balanced mind. Finally, it's helpful to remember that this skill is valued in many cultures around the world. In Japan, for example, the practice of hara hachibu, or eating until you're only 80% full, reflects a broader cultural focus on moderation and self-control. This same principle can be applied to emotional control, avoiding filling yourself with negative emotions to the point of reacting impulsively, and instead maintaining a state of moderation and balance. 2. Set clear boundaries. Setting boundaries is essential in any relationship, but it's something we often overlook. In our daily lives, both personal and professional, boundaries are a key tool for protecting our emotional well-being. Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of keeping our minds free from external influences that can harm us. He said, "Do not allow your soul to become a passive receptacle for any external thought or judgment." What does this mean in practice? Think about the last time you felt obligated to say yes when you really wanted to say no. Maybe a friend asked you for a favor you didn't want to do, or a colleague assigned you an additional task when you were already overwhelmed. We often say yes out of fear of seeming selfish or to avoid conflict, but in doing so, we sacrifice our well-being. Setting clear boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of respect for yourself. It's about recognizing that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable and that you have the right to protect them. For example, if you have a friend who constantly calls you to complain about their life without showing interest in how you are, it's entirely valid to set a boundary kindly but firmly, explaining that while you value their friendship, you can't dedicate so much time to negative conversations. This not only protects your energy, but also sends a clear message. You value your well-being and are not willing to compromise it. Clear boundaries not only protect you, but also teach others how you want to be treated. When you communicate your boundaries effectively, you're setting a standard for your relationships. Those who truly value and respect you will be willing to honor those boundaries. On the other hand, people who are only looking to take advantage of you are likely to distance themselves, which is an added benefit. Furthermore, setting clear boundaries can positively transform the dynamics of your relationships. By communicating what you need and what you are not willing to tolerate, you create space for relationships to be more balanced and respectful. This can lead to greater mutual understanding and healthier interactions. Most importantly, by protecting your emotional space, you give yourself the opportunity to thrive and surround yourself with people who truly support and inspire you. To better understand how to implement this strategy, we can look at testimonials from people who have successfully established boundaries. Many have shared how, after learning to say no and protect their time and energy, they experienced a significant transformation in their well-being. Some noticed an improvement in their self-esteem and their ability to manage stress, while others saw toxic relationships disappear from their lives, making room for more positive and enriching connections. If you're looking for a practical guide to start setting boundaries, consider this approach. First, identify areas in your life where you feel your boundaries are being violated, whether at work, in your personal relationships, or in your social commitments. Then, think about how you would like to be treated in those situations. Once you have this clear, practice communicating your boundaries assertively but respectfully, using phrases like, "I feel more comfortable when," or "I need." Don't be afraid to repeat these boundaries if necessary. Consistency is key to ensuring others respect them. In the long run, setting clear boundaries not only protects you from external negativity, but also reinforces your self-confidence. Every time you allow yourself to say no to something that doesn't align with your values or endangers your well-being, you affirm your worth and your right to live a life that reflects who you truly are. This practice, while challenging at first, becomes a powerful tool for creating a fuller, more balanced, and authentic life. 3. Don't take it personally. One of the most powerful principles of Stoicism is the idea that we should not take anything personally. Marcus Aurelius expressed this clearly. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This is a profound reflection on how our perception shapes our reality. If you allow others' criticisms or actions to affect you, you are letting their toxicity influence your view of the world. When someone criticizes you, it's natural to feel attacked, but Stoicism teaches us to see beyond that initial reaction. The person criticizing you is likely dealing with their own internal issues and insecurities. Their behavior is a reflection of their inner state, not yours. A practical way to avoid taking things personally is to visualize yourself wearing an invisible shield that repels any negative comments. This shield is not a physical barrier, but a mental and emotional defense that allows you to remain immune to toxic words and attitudes. Every time someone says something negative, instead of absorbing it and letting it affect you, imagine the comment simply bouncing off your shield and falling harmlessly to the ground. This simple exercise will help you protect your inner peace and maintain clarity in difficult situations. Additionally, it's helpful to remember the famous quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." This quote reinforces the idea that the power of others' words is only effective if you give them that power. By choosing not to take things personally, you disable others' ability to negatively influence your life. Another important aspect of this practice is the idea that each person sees the world through their own lens, shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and emotions. What someone says or does doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you, but with themselves. By understanding this, you can develop greater empathy for others, even for those who are toxic, while at the same time protecting your inner peace. Not taking things personally doesn't mean becoming insensitive or indifferent. It means developing emotional resilience that allows you to maintain your balance regardless of what others do or say. This is a powerful skill that will not only protect you from toxicity, but also allow you to live more freely and authentically, without constantly being at the mercy of others' opinions and actions. To better understand how this strategy works in practice, we can delve into how our brain processes criticism and why we often take it personally. Neuroscience studies have shown that our brain is wired to detect threats, including social threats like criticism, which can trigger an intense emotional response. However, by training our minds to see these criticisms from a Stoic perspective, we can reduce the emotional impact and respond more balanced. Additionally, you can implement depersonalization exercises in your daily routine. For example, when you face a situation where you feel personally attacked, try adopting the perspective of an external observer. Ask yourself, how would a third-party impartial observer see this situation? What advice would someone who cares about my well-being give me? This approach helps you create emotional distance and see the situation more clearly. For further inspiration, consider the stories of public figures who have learned not to take criticism personally. Steve Jobs, for example, faced countless criticisms throughout his career, but instead of letting them discourage him, he used them as motivation to keep moving forward and improving. This ability to turn criticism into a driver of growth is a key characteristic of those who have learned not to take things personally. 4. Practice empathy without letting yourself be manipulated. Empathy is an admirable quality, and it's something Marcus Aurelius encouraged. However, like everything in life, it must be practiced with discernment. Marcus Aurelius urges us to be compassionate, but without sacrificing our tranquility. He said, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Finding the balance between empathy and self-care can be difficult, especially when dealing with toxic people who may take advantage of your compassionate nature. It's easy to feel sorry for someone who constantly complains about their life or seems to be trapped in a cycle of negativity. However, if you're not careful, you may find yourself absorbing their negative energy or, worse yet, being manipulated by them. Imagine you have a friend who always comes to you for emotional support but never seems to improve or change their situation. Every conversation is a monologue about their problems, and every time you try to offer solutions, they reject or ignore them. In such situations, it's crucial that you practice empathy in a balanced way. You can listen to your friend and show understanding, but it's also important to set limits on how much time and energy you're willing to dedicate to these conversations. You might, for example, offer to listen for a limited time and then suggest talking about something else, or that the person consider seeking professional help if the situation is very serious. This allows you to be compassionate without becoming a receptacle for negativity. Another strategy is to practice distant empathy, a technique where you recognize and understand the other person's feelings, but without becoming emotionally involved to the point where it affects you. This might involve actively listening and offering support, but also maintaining a certain emotional distance to ensure that their mood or problems don't impact your own well-being. The goal is to help the other person in a constructive way, without sacrificing your own peace. Remember, being empathetic does not mean carrying others' problems on your shoulders. You can offer your support and understanding, but each person is responsible for their own life and well-being. By practicing empathy in this way, you ensure that you're giving your best without allowing others' negativity to drag you down. To enrich this practice, it's useful to consider the difference between empathy and sympathy. While sympathy involves feeling sorry for someone's situation, true empathy requires a deep understanding of their emotions without necessarily sharing them. This kind of empathy allows you to be supportive without losing your own balance. Stoic historical figures like Marcus Aurelius often practiced this kind of empathy. As a leader, Marcus had to understand his people, but he also needed to maintain the mental clarity to make difficult decisions without being overwhelmed by others' emotions. If you find yourself in a situation where empathy could lead to manipulation, it's essential to remember that empathy should not come at the expense of your serenity. You can be understanding and offer help, but you also need to be aware of your limits. If someone continually rejects your suggestions or solutions, it's a sign that they might be seeking something other than support. And that's where you should establish your own boundaries to avoid being trapped in a cycle of negativity. Ultimately, practicing empathy in a balanced way not only protects you, but also benefits the person you're interacting with. By not absorbing their negativity, you give them the space to take responsibility for their situation and work on their personal growth. Instead of being a mere recipient of complaints, you become a facilitator of change. Someone who supports but also motivates others to seek proactive solutions. 5. Be aware of your own emotions. One of the most valuable teachings of Stoicism is the importance of self-awareness. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminds us, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth." This quote highlights the importance of being aware of how our emotions and perceptions affect our interpretation of reality. When dealing with a toxic person, it's common for intense emotions like frustration, anger, or sadness to arise. If not managed properly, these emotions can cloud your judgment and make you react impulsively. That's why it's crucial to develop a practice of self-awareness that allows you to identify and understand your emotions before acting on them. One effective way to do this is by keeping an emotional journal. This journal allows you to record your feelings and analyze why you react a certain way in different situations. For example, You might note how you felt after an interaction with a toxic person, what thoughts arose, and how those thoughts influenced your emotions. Reviewing your journal could reveal patterns in your reactions, helping you better understand your emotional triggers. This practice of self-awareness not only helps you better manage your interactions with toxic people, but also offers you an opportunity to grow and learn more about yourself. By understanding your emotions and how they affect you, you can begin to respond more deliberately and less reactively. This allows you to remain calm and clear in situations that might otherwise be emotionally overwhelming. Furthermore, self-awareness gives you the ability to question your own thoughts and perceptions. For example, if someone makes a hurtful comment, you could ask yourself, why does this comment affect me so much? Is it really a reflection of my worth, or is it just someone else's opinion? Asking these kinds of questions can diffuse the power that others' comments have over you and help you maintain your emotional balance. Ultimately, being aware of your own emotions gives you control over how you choose to react. Instead of being a puppet of your emotions, you can become the director of your emotional life, consciously choosing how to respond to each situation. This is an invaluable skill that will help you not only better handle toxic people, but also navigate life with greater serenity and wisdom. To deepen this practice, it's helpful to explore how self-awareness relates to mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness can help you stay more present in the moment and observe your thoughts and emotions without judging or reacting to them immediately. Studies have shown that those who practice mindfulness regularly are better able to regulate their emotions and make wiser decisions under pressure. By incorporating mindfulness into your daily life, whether through meditation or simply paying more attention to your thoughts and feelings, you strengthen your capacity for self-awareness and improve your interactions with others. Emotional intelligence also plays a crucial role in this process. By developing your emotional intelligence, you not only learn to recognize and understand your own emotions, but also improve your ability to empathize with others and manage interpersonal relationships more effectively. Self-awareness is one of the pillars of emotional intelligence, and by cultivating it, you're investing in your long-term emotional well-being. 6. Avoid gossip and negativity. Gossip is one of those practices that we all know is harmful, but it can sometimes be hard to avoid. Marcus Aurelius, as an emperor surrounded by courtiers and scheming politicians, was very aware of the dangers of gossip and negativity. In his meditations, he wrote, "The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." This quote perfectly encapsulates the impact that gossip and negativity can have on our lives. Engaging in gossip not only fuels the toxicity around you, but also contaminates your mind. Every time you participate in a negative conversation, you contribute to an atmosphere of distrust and discomfort, both for yourself and others. While it may be tempting to join in a gossip session, especially if you feel you have something in common with others by criticizing someone, it's important to remember that this practice not only harms the person being talked about, but also yourself. Consider the following example. You're at the office and a colleague starts speaking ill of another co-worker. It might be tempting to join in, especially if you have negative feelings towards that person or simply want to feel part of the group. But by doing so, you're contributing to a cycle of negativity that will eventually affect you as well. Moreover, by participating in gossip, you're damaging your integrity and creating a less healthy work environment. A wiser strategy would be to steer the conversation towards something more positive or simply opt not to participate. For example, you might say something like, "I understand this is a sensitive topic, but I'd prefer not to discuss it right now. How about we talk about the project we're working on?" This small action not only protects you from getting involved in negativity, but also helps you set a standard of respect and professionalism around you. Another reason to avoid gossip is the impact it has on your inner peace. Every time you engage in negative conversations, you're filling your mind with harmful thoughts that will eventually affect your emotional well-being. By choosing not to participate in gossip, you're making a conscious decision to protect your mental and emotional peace. Additionally, by avoiding gossip, you're also cultivating an environment of trust. When others see that you don't participate in gossip, they are more likely to view you as a trustworthy and respectful person. This can strengthen your personal and professional relationships and help you build a circle of people who also value integrity and respect. It's interesting to note how gossip and negativity affect not only those directly involved, but also the broader social environment. Sociological studies have shown that environments where gossip prevails tend to have lower levels of trust and cooperation. Conversely, when people refrain from gossiping and opt for constructive conversations, a more positive and productive work environment is fostered. If you find yourself in a situation where gossip seems inevitable, consider positive alternatives to redirect the conversation. For example, you could share an inspiring story or discuss motivating ideas. By doing so, you not only avoid negativity, but also contribute to an environment that promotes growth and collaboration. This not only improves your well-being, but can also positively influence those around you, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Finally, by choosing not to participate in gossip, you also protect your inner peace. Negative conversations can be emotionally draining and leave you with a sense of unease. By choosing to stay out of it and focus your energy on the positive, you ensure that your interactions are a source of joy and not stress. This, in turn, strengthens your mental health and helps you maintain a positive and constructive attitude in your daily life. 7. Redirect the conversation. We've all been in those conversations where negativity seems to dominate, dragging everyone into a gloomy mood. Perhaps you're at a family gathering and someone starts complaining about everything, the weather, the food, politics, or whatever they can find. Marcus Aurelius, known for his ability to remain serene amid chaos, might have offered this advice. Redirect the conversation to something more positive and constructive. Imagine you're at a social gathering and the conversation starts to revolve around negative topics. Instead of letting yourself be swept along by the tide of complaints and criticism, you could intervene with a comment like, "I understand these topics can be frustrating, but how about we talk about something positive that happened this week? Does anyone have any good news to share?" This simple act of redirecting the conversation can completely change the tone of the interaction and transform a negative conversation into an opportunity to share good and uplifting things. Redirecting the conversation is not just a way to avoid negativity, but also a way to exert positive influence in your environment. When you take the initiative to change the topic, you demonstrate that you prefer to focus on what is constructive and beneficial rather than getting stuck in what is destructive and demotivating. This attitude can be contagious, inspiring others to follow your example and engage in more positive and productive conversations. Moreover, redirecting the conversation is also a way to protect your own mental health. Negative conversations can be exhausting, leaving you with a heavy feeling. By choosing to focus on the positive, you not only protect your energy, but also ensure that social interactions are a source of joy and growth, rather than stress and exhaustion. This technique can also be useful in the workplace. If you find yourself in a meeting where the focus is solely on problems and criticism, you could propose a shift in focus. "I understand these challenges are important, but could we also spend a few minutes discussing possible solutions or ideas to improve the situation?" By doing this, you not only promote a more positive and proactive mindset, but also help your team move forward instead of staying stuck in negativity. Effectively redirecting the conversation requires communication skills that you can develop with practice. One of the most effective ways to do this is by using open-ended questions that invite others to reflect on positive or constructive aspects. For example, instead of abruptly changing the topic, you could ask, "What could we learn from this situation that would help us improve in the future?" This type of question not only redirects the conversation, but also engages others in the search for solutions, which can be extremely productive. It's interesting to observe how some successful leaders use this technique to maintain a positive focus in their teams. For example, in the business world, leaders like Richard Branson are known to focus on what can be improved, rather than lamenting what went wrong. This positive approach not only motivates their teams, but also creates a more optimistic and solution-oriented work environment. Lastly, redirecting the conversation not only helps you maintain a positive environment, but can also have a profound impact on your emotional well-being. When you choose to focus on the positive, you train your mind to look for the good in every situation, which in turn reduces stress and increases your emotional resilience. This practice, when it becomes a habit, can transform not only your social interactions, but also the way you experience and respond to life in general. 8. Remember that you can't control everything. One of the most fundamental teachings of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our control, while others are not. Marcus Aurelius, facing colossal challenges as an emperor, deeply understood this principle. In his meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When dealing with toxic people, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if we just say or do the right thing, we can change their behavior or their way of being. However, Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control others, only ourselves. This understanding is liberating because it allows us to focus our energy on what we can truly control, our own reactions, thoughts, and decisions. For example, suppose you work with someone who is always negative and critical. You could spend a lot of time and energy trying to change their attitude, only to be frustrated when you realize your efforts make no difference. Instead of wearing yourself out trying to change what's beyond your control, you could focus on how you choose to respond to that person. You can decide not to let their negativity affect your mood or work performance. Accepting that you cannot control others allows you to release a great deal of unnecessary stress. It's not about resignation or apathy, but about active and conscious acceptance of reality. By recognizing that each person is responsible for their own behavior, you free yourself from the burden of feeling you need to change others. This not only gives you peace of mind, but also allows you to interact with others from a place of greater calm and clarity. Moreover, this understanding also helps you be more compassionate. By recognizing that people act according to their own experiences, traumas, and insecurities, you can develop greater empathy toward them. This doesn't mean you should tolerate toxic behaviors, but it does mean you can understand where they're coming from, which allows you to handle the situation with more wisdom and less resentment. Finally, the dichotomy of control also teaches you to focus on what you can do to improve your own life, rather than wasting time and energy on what's beyond your control. This can include practices like self-care, meditation, or simply spending time on things that bring you joy and satisfaction. By focusing on what you can control, you not only improve your well-being, but also become a more balanced and resilient person, capable of facing life's challenges with greater serenity. One useful way to internalize this principle is through visual metaphors. For example, you could imagine that your life is like a flowing river. Some currents are strong and beyond your control, but you have the power to navigate them in the best way possible. Letting go of the need to control every aspect of the river not only frees you from unnecessary burdens, but also allows you to enjoy the journey with greater peace and gratitude. Inspiring stories of people who have learned to accept what they cannot control can also offer valuable lessons. For example, Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, about how he found inner freedom by accepting that while he couldn't change his environment, he could control how he responded to it. This acceptance allowed him to maintain his humanity and hope in the most extreme circumstances. By incorporating the dichotomy of control into your life, you can redirect your energy toward areas where you can really make a difference. This not only helps you reduce stress and frustration, but also allows you to live more intentionally and purposefully. Instead of fighting the inevitable, you learn to flow with life, finding peace in acceptance and strength in your ability to respond. 9. Find refuge within yourself. Marcus Aurelius deeply valued the idea of an inner refuge, a mental and spiritual space where he could find peace amid the chaos of the external world. In his meditations, he wrote, "People seek retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea or in the mountains. But nowhere can a person find a retreat more peaceful or free from trouble than in his own soul." This quote highlights the importance of cultivating an internal space where you can find serenity and strength no matter what is happening around you. In modern life, finding this inner refuge may be more necessary than ever. We are constantly bombarded by external stimuli, negative news, social media, work, and social expectations, among other things. All of this can be overwhelming and impact our mental and emotional health. That's why it's crucial to develop an inner refuge that you can retreat to when things become too intense. This inner refuge can take many forms, depending on what brings you peace and clarity. For some, it might be a daily meditation practice where you dedicate time to sit in silence, observe your thoughts, and connect with your breath. Meditation not only helps you calm the mind, but also strengthens your ability to stay centered and calm, even in stressful situations. For others, the inner refuge might be time dedicated to reading or reflection. Reading inspiring or philosophical texts, like Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, can offer you a broader perspective and help you remember what truly matters. Reading allows you to disconnect from external noise and immerse yourself in a space of wisdom and reflection. Another way to find refuge within yourself is through creativity. Activities like painting, writing, or music can be powerful ways to connect with your inner self and express your emotions in a constructive manner. These activities not only provide an escape from daily stress, but also help you cultivate a sense of peace and satisfaction. When you face toxic people or difficult situations, this inner refuge provides you with a safe place to retreat to mentally, even if you're physically present in the situation. It's a constant reminder that no matter what happens around you, you always have a place of peace and strength to return to. This practice not only protects your mental health, but also strengthens you, allowing you to face adversity with unshakable calm. In summary, finding refuge within yourself is essential for maintaining your balance in a chaotic world. This refuge is not a physical place, but a mental and spiritual state that you can cultivate through daily practices of self-care, reflection, and creativity. By developing this inner space, you ensure that you will always have a place of peace to turn to, no matter what the outside world throws at you. To make this refuge an integral part of your life, you can create daily rituals that reinforce your connection with your inner self. These rituals might include activities like journaling, meditating in the morning, or reading inspiring passages before bed. These moments of reflection help you build and maintain your inner refuge, providing an anchor of peace amid chaos. This concept is also found in other philosophical and religious traditions. For example, in Buddhism, the practice of meditation and mindfulness is used to cultivate a mental state of calm and clarity, similar to the inner refuge Marcus Aurelius describes. By practicing these techniques, you not only strengthen your mind, but also develop the ability to remain centered and balanced, even when the world around you is in disarray. Additionally, creating a physical environment that supports your inner refuge can be very helpful. You might dedicate a space in your home exclusively for meditation, reading, or any other activity that helps you connect with your inner self. This space doesn't have to be large or elaborate. What's important is that it's a place where you can find tranquility and focus. A place that reminds you of your inner refuge whenever you need it. 10. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most powerful and transformative practices you can incorporate into your life. Marcus Aurelius, in his reflections, emphasized the importance of gratitude as a tool for maintaining calm and positivity, even in the midst of adversity. He wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This simple practice of gratitude has the power to change your life. When surrounded by toxic people or facing difficult situations, it's easy to let negativity dominate your mind. However, gratitude offers you a way to counter this by shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right. Even on the hardest days, there's always something to be grateful for, no matter how small. Practicing gratitude can be as simple as taking a few minutes each morning or before bed to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. These things don't have to be big or extraordinary. In fact, it's often the small things that have the greatest impact on our well-being. You might be grateful for a pleasant conversation you had, for the fact that you had a hot meal, or simply for a moment of peace. Science backs up the benefits of gratitude. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly experience higher levels of emotional well-being, less stress and anxiety, and greater resilience in the face of adversity. Gratitude not only improves your mood, but can also change the structure of your brain, making it easier for you to see the positive in your life, even when things get tough. In situations where you're dealing with toxic people, gratitude can be a particularly powerful tool. Instead of focusing on the negativity these people bring into your life, you can direct your energy towards what you have to be thankful for. For example, if you have a colleague who is always critical, you might be grateful for the opportunity to learn patience and self-control. If a friend disappoints you, you could be grateful for the lessons in discernment and self-worth you're learning. Additionally, gratitude has a multiplying effect. The more you practice it, the more things you find to be grateful for. This abundance mindset allows you to live more fully and with less fear or anxiety. When you live in gratitude, it's harder for toxic people to affect you because your focus is on what is good and positive in your life, not on what is wrong. Finally, gratitude also helps you maintain a broader perspective on life. It reminds you that despite the challenges and difficult people, there are many things in your life worth being grateful for. This perspective gives you the strength and resilience to face whatever life throws at you with an attitude of hope and positivity. To make gratitude a habitual practice, you could start a gratitude journal where each day you write down 3 things you're grateful for. This simple practice, when done consistently, can have a profound impact on your emotional well-being and your ability to handle difficult situations. Even in the midst of adversity, finding reasons to be grateful can transform your experience and help you maintain calm and clarity. It's fascinating how gratitude has also played a crucial role in the lives of many historical figures who faced enormous challenges. For example, during World War II, the writer Anne Frank, despite being in hiding and in constant danger, wrote in her diary about the small things she was grateful for, like the beauty of the sky or the support of her family. This practice of gratitude helped her maintain hope and strength in one of the most desperate situations. Incorporating gratitude into your life not only protects you from negativity, but also opens you up to a greater appreciation of life and the people around you. When you focus on what you have, rather than what you lack, you shift your perspective from scarcity to abundance, which not only improves your mood, but can also inspire others to do the same. Gratitude is a powerful tool that connects you to the best in life, even in the darkest moments. 11. Learn to let go. Letting go is one of the most difficult and powerful lessons in Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Therefore, guard and watch your mind against entertaining unsuitable notions for virtue and reasonable nature. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or running away. It means having the courage to release what no longer serves you, including people who constantly bring negativity into your life. Letting go is an act of liberation, not of weakness. It takes courage to recognize that some relationships or situations are no longer healthy for you, and that it's better for your mental and emotional well-being to let them go. This can be especially difficult when it involves someone close to you, like a lifelong friend or a family member. However, it's important to remember that your inner peace and happiness are more important than maintaining relationships that harm you. Imagine a relationship you've repeatedly tried to save, but it continues to be a constant source of stress and pain. Despite your best efforts, the other person shows no signs of change or willingness to improve the relationship. Instead of continuing to invest time and energy into something that is hurting you, Stoicism invites you to let go. This doesn't mean you don't care about the other person. It means you care enough about yourself not to allow that relationship to continue damaging your well-being. Letting go can also mean releasing expectations or resentments you've been holding on to. Maybe someone hurt you in the past, and you've been holding a grudge or waiting for an apology that never comes. Stoicism teaches us that holding on to these feelings only prolongs our suffering. By letting go of these resentments, you free yourself from the emotional weight you've been carrying and allow peace and healing to enter your life. Another important aspect of learning to let go is understanding that not everything in life needs to be controlled or resolved. Sometimes things are simply the way they are, and clinging to the need to change or control everything only creates more stress and frustration. Letting go involves accepting life as it is, with its imperfections and challenges, and finding peace within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. Finally, letting go opens up space in your life for new opportunities and healthier relationships. When you release what no longer serves you, you make room for people and experiences that nourish and inspire you. It's an act of self-care and self-love that allows you to live more freely and authentically without being tied down by what holds you back or harms you. To facilitate the process of letting go, you can use metaphors or visualizations. A helpful visualization is to imagine that you're holding a rope that ties you to something heavy. As you decide to let go of the rope, you feel the weight lighten and you free yourself from that unnecessary burden. This mental practice can help you let go more easily, reminding you that sometimes the greatest strength lies in letting go. The art of letting go is also reflected in many spiritual and philosophical traditions. In Buddhism, for example, the concept of non-attachment is central to achieving inner peace. By letting go of our unmet expectations and desires, we free ourselves from suffering and find greater emotional freedom. By incorporating this principle into your daily life, you can find a new way of living, less focused on controlling or possessing, and more focused on acceptance and gratitude. Moreover, letting go also applies to your own thoughts and emotions. If you find that certain negative thoughts or anxieties are haunting you, practicing the art of letting go of those thoughts can be transformative. You can start by identifying these thoughts and then consciously deciding to release them, knowing that holding on to them only prolongs your suffering. Over time, this practice will allow you to live with more lightness and peace. Finally, by learning to let go, you're opening up space in your life for the new and the positive. This can include new relationships, personal growth opportunities, or simply greater inner peace. When you allow yourself to let go of what no longer serves you, you give yourself the chance to flourish and create a life more aligned with your deepest values and desires. Letting go is not a sign of weakness, but of an inner strength that knows when it's time to move on to something better. These 11 powerful strategies, inspired by Stoicism, for dealing with toxic people and protecting your well-being, are not magic solutions that will instantly remove difficult people from your life, but they are practical tools that, when applied consistently, can transform how you handle these situations. Remember, it's not about changing others, but about strengthening your own mind and spirit. As Marcus Aurelius taught us, true strength comes from within. So, the next time you face a toxic person, ask yourself, how can I apply these Stoic principles to maintain my calm and dignity? If this video has been helpful to you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment about the key point that resonated most with you, and share it with someone who could benefit from these teachings. We all need a bit of Stoic wisdom in our lives. See you in the next video.